Hello, my lovely people. Good morning. Thanks for coming to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So, today I was inspired to talk about entrepreneurs. So, my background is before law school, I got a degree in management information system, marketing, and international business. And I have had several businesses over my lifetime. My dad actually had another restaurant, a bar and grocery in Jamaica when I was growing up. I was surrounded by entrepreneurs, and my grandmother was a genius. I mean, she's why I am here today and have accomplished so much. Just very inspirational. A woman who sold in the market in downtown Carnation Market to be exact. And she was a hustler, or if you want to say a higgler, whatever, but she made ends meet, a woman who had 13 kids. But I felt inspired today to speak about entrepreneurs. I do have experience too in business transactions and doing contracts. So, and it does link to immigrants, right? We know that as immigrants, most immigrants come to the United States seeking a better life for themselves, right? And immigrants are known to be entrepreneurs, what small business, right? So whether it is the Caribbean immigrant who opens a auto repair shop, or they have a restaurant, or they have a real estate service, or it is the African immigrant, right? Or the Asian immigrant. Immigrants are known to be entrepreneurs. And so there is an intersection between immigration and entrepreneurs in many different ways. But I wanted to touch on where a lot of immigrants have their own businesses. And recently, with everything going on, there is that drive for some of in the immigrant community to basically divest, right? And so what happens in those cases is when you are selling your business or you are transferring ownership of your business, there are many factors to take into consideration, right? And so what I wanted to is touch on a few of the things that are very important in those transactions. I myself have done several different transactions to help persons, and just so happens to be that they were also persons of immigrant background. So I have assisted persons who were Italian, Filipino, Jamaican, American in selling or purchasing businesses. One of the factors that is important as someone who, for instance, is selling your business is that you get a valuation of the business, right? So you want to know how much is your business worth, right? And also, what are you selling for the business? Are you selling the entity itself, which would be the name and everything that comes with the business, or are you just selling the assets of the business? So those are things that you want to know. Some people, they want to sell the actual assets itself and the actual the actual location and so forth that goes with the business. They want to transfer the lease and so forth. And other persons want to maintain I'm sorry, other persons want to sell the entire entity. Some people who sell, they want to maintain the name for themselves because it has some type of meaning to them. I had one client, I'm not going to tell the name, but it had special meaning to the couple, and so they wanted to maintain that name. And so sometimes they sell the current business entity and they use that name to start another business entity. But business business transactions can be tricky too, because you want to make sure that when you're doing the transfer, you are not taking on any liability from the prior owner. So there are certain things that you want to consult with an attorney to make sure that you cover. And a lot of times, some people who are not familiar with all the requirements, they may make certain mistakes, and then it comes back within a couple months or years to kind of bite them. So you want to make sure that you are sufficiently protected as someone who's buying or selling a business. You also, so you want to make sure that the company is valid is valued, sorry, not valid, well, you want to make sure it's valid as well, right? So you want to look at the financials, make sure that it's accurately valued. You want to make sure that there's no liability that's going to transfer to you as the new owner. And you also want to make sure that you understand how the transfer is going to work. So are you going to take on staff, right? Are you going to take on the know-how of operational functions for the business, or are is that person just buying a shell where it is just the assets and they're going to bring their own business acumen and their own know-how into the organization? So there are a lot of factors in play, and there are also different things you can take into consideration. Maybe you don't want to sell your business. Maybe you want to take advantage of the goodwill that your business has developed, and what you want to do is license. So you can think of working on a license agreement. So, for instance, I did speak with an individual who many years ago, before this whole craze about soursop leaves and how it has certain medicinal qualities where it can help with cancer. And that individual, I'm talking about maybe over 10 years ago, that individual was making teas, right? And what they were looking to do was they were looking to license that product to persons in the UK and Canada. So you don't necessarily have to sell your product, but you can license it. So you can take advantage of what the asset that you have developed and created, and also work with individuals who are willing to invest in your business that you have created, and you can make a living. You can make not necessarily a living, but you can take advantage of that and gain investment from individuals who are willing to invest in your business. Also, I will do a video on that later, but if you do have as a business owner, of course, you if you have a business that has a certain name that is tied to a level of notoriety, you would want to protect that. So, intellectual property, is that something you're going to transfer as well? So that's something I do as well. I am an intellectual property attorney first. That's what I started doing in my practice initially. So there's just a lot of different factors to consider as a business owner. And definitely you do want to consult with an attorney you know and trust, who can assist you with those transactions, and make sure those transactions are done in a way that is beneficial to you and will protect your interest, and ensure that if you are the person who is purchasing an entity, you are not faced with surprises, right? You are coming into an agreement with a lease where you are aware of all the different criteria that's required, right, to transfer for the transfer of that lease. You don't have any liabilities that will pop up and come to bite you in the butt, so to speak, later on. So definitely a lot of factors to consider. I know there are a lot of cases where people are divesting from businesses now, especially in the immigrant community, because of possibly status or the desire where some people have to maybe go back to their country of origin. So definitely a lot of different factors come into play, or just maybe someone who is a new immigrant into the United States and they're looking for a business opportunity or a way in which that they can achieve that American dream, right? So whatever your situation is, you want to look at all the factors and consult with someone who can assist you through that process. So, just a little something I was thinking of today, and how the immigrant world connects with the business world and the entrepreneur world. So, it's interesting that there's so many different areas of law that intersect with immigration. You think of family law, right? Because most of the times it's the family unit that you're trying to keep together with immigration, you think of, in unfortunately some cases, criminal law, right? It does intersect in certain cases where maybe the person who petitioned for you or brought you here has unfortunately become or showed that they are not, they don't have that good character and they are abusive, right? But that can be turned into a positive for you in terms of helping you still attain your immigration status, right? Um, and then there are other different areas of law, but those are the main ones that I can think of, just off the top of my head, where there is an intersection in different areas of law. But I want to thank you as always. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing what I have to say. And again, as always, if you have any questions or if you have any comments, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. I want you to subscribe and also like, and if you have something that you want me to speak on, please feel free to leave a comment and let me know. And I'll try my best to do a video or to answer your question directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.